Welcome to my new TV show. It's Dr. Dana. We have
Absolutely.
an amazing guest today. He's come here from a long way from Northern California. His name is Jackson Corley. He has a huge company that I believe almost all the NFL players are using his product, and many movie stars, and he's gotten 50 countries around the world. But it was interesting, there was a time when he was lying in a bed in a hospital wondering if he'd ever walk again. So I kind of want you to tell your story about that and let us know what happened and how that went, and then fast forward to the present. Let's talk about some of your products that are helping so many people.
It really is an amazing story because it was divinely touched. Okay. Because I was an extreme skier, extreme biker, sub 15-minute 5K runner, chiropractor for years, had a gigantic practice, and really, sometimes things happen for a reason. In 2008, I was up mountain biking. Up in Chico, there's lava fields everywhere, severe cliffs that go down, and I was by myself. It was late at night, and I was going a little bit too fast, and I'm going too fast. My saddle's a little too high, and I go down this trail, and when you're biking, you always say, "Don't look where you don't want to go." And what happened is that I wanted to go faster, so I focused on the pathway, and I hit a lava rock. And what happened, it locked my front wheel, and as I'm going through the air, flying because the front wheel
you just
locked,
went over, huh?
The bike is going in slow motion. You know, Einstein's theory of relativity and time is that the faster you move, slower time moves. And it's like, oh my God, I'm gonna hit the ground. And I'm going down this ravine.
How far were you?
I went about 25 feet. And fortunately, some rocks hit me from going another 25 feet. And when I hit, I thought, wow, you know what? Maybe I broke my wrist. It was about 5 more feet before I went over the second part of the ravine. And so it stopped me, and I was like, okay, oh my gosh, it's getting dark. It was like almost 4:45, and it gets dark at 5, so it was just ambient light.
This time of year.
And I thought, man, I have 10 miles more to go. So I jumped on my bike, got up.
Could you feel anything at that point?
Oh, I was adrenaline filled. Adrenaline had me. It was like,
so
I was like, oh my God, my arms are bloody. And so I made it back to the house, and didn't say anything to anybody, took a shower, and went to bed. And the next morning I got up and I did the same ride again. But this time I couldn't actually stand up straight. It was weird. I get out of bed, I'm thinking, what the heck's going on?
Maybe you need to go to the hospital, chiropractor or somebody.
Something. But what was crazy is I did the ride again with a couple of my buddies. I walked the ravine area because it was too spooky for me, and made it home. And I was thinking, wow, I'm a little bit looser. I'm going to dig some post holes. So I dig a couple post holes, and I was like, wow, I'm standing up straight. And then I thought, oh, it's afternoon. I'm going to go on a night run tonight. So I put a headlamp on and a waist lamp, and I went on a 10-mile
run. Okay, pounding the pavement.
Up in the hills, went to the same area where I fell. I wanted to go and relive it, but I had my lamps on. And halfway through the run, I was like, my foot started to drop. It was pounding on the ground. I couldn't hold it up. But I had no pain. It was amazing. It was like, no pain.
You're in good shape.
And then
really good shape.
Then I went back to the house, and I get in the shower, and I dry off my legs. I'm like, oh my gosh, I can't feel my legs. It was like, what's going on? Wow. And to this day, because I didn't have surgery or anything, but to this day, I can't feel my legs on both sides.
Sensory.
And I can't feel my arm on the right side. And that was the beginning of the end, because I went to bed that night, and the next morning I took one step, and that was it. I couldn't walk. I couldn't put any weight on it. Made it to the MRI center. Someone took me in and got there, and I thought I broke my hip. That's why I couldn't walk. They looked at the hip, and they found a herniated disc 22 millimeters up the spinal cord from L4 to L3. Up the spinal cord, and it was 99% pinching the nerve, L4 going down my leg. So then I went to sometimes you don't want to go to your friends that are doctors.
Depends who they are.
So I went to a friend of mine who's a neurosurgeon, and I crawled into the office, and I'm laying on the floor, and she goes, I think you're messed up in your neck too. Oh, let's get an MRI. We did. And I had herniated discs there as well. I ended up having 5 herniated discs in the low back, 2 in the neck. And then I went to four neurosurgeons totally, and they wanted to fuse my spine. Well, I was in my 40s. I don't want to fuse my spine. I'm a sub 15-minute 5K runner. I imagine that I just take something and I choke your neck and I choke it so hard you can't breathe anymore. That's what's happening to my nerve in my low back. Is that it was like you took something, put it around your finger, and that happens.
So it's not giving any more innervation to the leg.
Nothing.
So and those nerves coming out of L4, L5, there's a lot of different places, and the leg is a big part of those muscles. So nothing's telling the muscles to work. So right, and also
total foot drop.
All sensory too's gone, so you can't feel anything.
It was so
the
it's
almost
weirdest
like
thing.
paralysis in a way.
Yeah. So I went to the surgeons, and 2 months passed, and I'm.
So you didn't do any, you didn't do any
wheelchair.
surgery?
Didn't do surgery.
Okay.
I can get up and I'm in a walker. People had to help me out of a chair, out of bed, or whatever. Wow. And I had an aha moment. I had a moment, a divine intervention. I feel like God just came down to it. And so I think the answer was given to me and said, hey, why don't you do this and that? And I have my background's chemistry, so I took what the message was, some germanium and carbon molecules.
You heard that? Or because how could you just think this minerals, which mineral? Gold, silver?
It wasn't it was more like,
a knowing? Like
it was like they put it into my brain tissue.
And it was germanium?
Germanium, yeah.
And cobalt?
And carbon.
Okay.
It was carbonized charcoal.
Okay.
And so I had already developed a bunch of different products, so I called one of the factories and said, hey, can you make this, can you put this in a back brace? And at the time, I had to develop something so I could walk. And so the first thing I did was I developed a back brace, and it was there in 2 weeks. And what they did was they just took powder of what I wanted and just kind of put it on the back brace. They said, don't wash it. I put it on, and I was like, oh my God, this thing feels great. Yeah. And that was the beginning. A couple months later, I said, hey, well, can I put it into my knee? Wasn't working. Can I put it into that? And then, a couple months later, I was like, oh, can we put it in the socks because I can't feel my feet? And
so what was happening with each of those areas while you put that metals in the fabric, and what happened with you?
That is a great question. Number one is the pain started going away immediately. Okay. And what was really crazy is we had a thermography camera, and when they put the back brace on, it was like, wow, my back is getting cold. But yet, this, because if you're hot and you put on a jacket, it warms you up.
Right.
Okay, so it makes you sweat. This cooled me down. I was thinking, I didn't know what was going on.
So on the thermographic scan, it was all red?
At first, it was so hot, it was white.
Oh, white, okay, yeah.
Yeah.
Like breast cancer, when we see the breast cancer, same thing.
Same thing.
Okay.
And then what happened is that my back started getting better. I went back to the neurosurgeon, San Francisco Spine Institute, the U.S. Olympic team, orthopedic surgeon. Wow. He was like, wow, you're getting better. Keep on doing what you're doing. We're not going to do surgery. And that was the beginning of Incrediwear, is that we wanted to be, I said, man, I got to bring this out to people because I'm getting better. I had to stop practicing. Even today, I can only run about a 9-minute mile. I used to run a 4:40 mile. That was, divinely touched to be able to bring an answer.
Many great products start this way. So tell me a little bit about who's wearing them.
We do the Dodgers. We do the Yankees. In fact, on my board of directors is the head doctor for the New York Yankees, Dr. Ahmad, which is cool. So, when we take a look at sports, we do 250 teams. Every NBA team, every NFL team, Georgia, Alabama, TCU, Oregon, all the top colleges uses for many different reasons. Number one is, when I first started, why was I getting better? I was getting better because the pain was going away, and the foot drop went away. That means I'm feeding oxygen and nutrients, to the nerve to allow the nerves to work better.
Yeah.
And what happens is that it's all about inflammation, though, and that's why the teams use this. That's why Mayo Clinic uses and Johns Hopkins and all these places, is because your enemy really, and this, it doesn't matter if it's environmental, if it's what we eat, whether it's gut health, whether it's
we think even stress,
sprains and strains, stress, everything. Yeah. It's all about inflammation.
Yeah.
And Incrediwear is the first wearable anti-inflammatory. So essentially, what it's doing is, the teams are using us because we have studies showing that I can accelerate the healing time from an injury by 50%. So. Yeah, it's done at USC. It was done on a Major League Soccer team here in the U.S. And instead of 24 days to heal, it was 11.7 days. And it's amazing. But we looked at, how could that be? There's got to be a reason. And when we first were looking, we were thinking, oh, it's increasing oxygen, it's increasing nutrients. But that's not it.
Stem cells.
Well, it actually does affect the stem cells for sure. But what it is that it's the inflammation that makes us stiff. It's the inflammation that makes your ankles swell. And if you have a swollen ankle, how are you going to get oxygen and nutrients to the cells?
Inflammation is healthy. If we didn't have inflammation, we probably wouldn't be here, right? So initially, you get inflammation to start the body's trying to heal itself, right? So what you're saying, you have to have that.
You're halfway there. But I'm going to give you the answer.
You're taking that and get rid of the chronic inflammation, or maybe you only keep it in there for a day or two, and then you.
No, this is so exciting.
No?
This is great. We're really learning here. Look, you want the inflammatory process. You want macrophage. You want having all the cells that help you recover. But you don't want the swelling. Interstitial swelling that is going to block those cells that help your body heal to be able to actually allow the oxygen and nutrients to get to the cells that need to regenerate.
Get in there. Okay.
Exactly. So if I have, okay, I'm going to just take stem cell for an example, or I'm going to take a trauma. If it's trauma and I'm going to inject a stem cell or a PRP into that area and it's already swollen.
I've gone through edema and injected in there.
Yeah, but it's not going to get to all the targeted cells. But what if I wore Incrediwear and got rid of the inflammation for 2 weeks before, and now I injected it?
Right.
There's less inflammation. You're going to look better. The outcome's going to be better. Right. So when we take a look at why the teams, you ask me, why does after he had surgery, Novak Djokovic wear our product after he had surgery, and he's now in Wimbledon and able to play and make it to the finals.
Yeah.
Because what Incrediwear never stops doing, it's therapy. It never stops vibrating your cells.
You explain that. What's going on with that?
It's really like an earthquake on the bottom of the ocean. Well, look, embedded inside all of the products are semiconductors. When your body heats them up.
Okay, what is it? What do you mean semiconductor? Because that's that's a computer word to me.
Yeah, it is kind of a computer word, but you have a phone.
Yeah.
And you have a computer, and that's a semiconductor's in there to transmit information.
Okay, transmit frequencies.
Frequency, yeah. No, it does by wave as well. Just like the sun. The sun emits a whole spectrum of waves, but we only see the light. And that's only about 0.05% of the entire wave that comes out. So in that wave from the sun is called infrared.
Right.
It's far infrared, mid-level infrared, and near. Near is actually laser. You probably use laser in your clinic. And you can't do it for more than 15 or 20 minutes.
Right, you'll burn them.
It'll burn you.
Yeah.
But where we are, we're in the mid-level to far infrared. And so when it vibrates, it's vibrating your cells and vibrating the tissue because of those waves. At the same time, negative ions come off, goes into your body, and that actually pulls heat off your body. So it's doing two things at the same time. Okay. It's therapy. And so if we put it on an Ohtani, or we put it on a Steph Curry or a LeBron, or who wear them, or a Djokovic, what is it going to do? It's going to allow their body to heal faster. If they've had surgery, it does the same thing. And the way it heals faster is because we take away the inflammation. And then you named something. You said, well, what about stem cells? Well, stem cells are produced every time you exercise, every time that you have trauma. And when you do an injection, you're creating trauma to create the immune response.
Right.
The cascade.
Shockwave does that, and the prolotherapy, all that with sugar. I mean, that's all there was in there.
That's what it's trying to do. Yeah. But what they messed up on is they forgot that, look, if I can minimize intermuscular swelling, interstitial, which is under the tissue, like if I hit you in the eye, you're going to have swelling in your eye. That's not in any muscle. Or interarticular, which is inside the bone. If I can minimize that, the outcome's going to be better. So we did a study that just released on total knee outcome, which is after you've had your knee replaced. And at day 21, we were 54% less swelling than compression. What that means is the surgeon's going to look amazing because now there's no swelling.
Right.
And so when we take a look at all these amazing teams that use this, or amazing centers, it's all about inflammation.
Okay, so let me back up a little bit. So when I'm in my practice and we're injecting, we do a lot of ozone. And recently, we've had people with these weirdest pain syndromes you could ever imagine. They have mole. They haven't done anything for years and years, and especially one woman, her daughter's arms, they could barely lift them. Pain, unbelievable, like fibro pain. So we injected ozone and we injected neuralgia rheum from Heal, just maybe 4 or 5 little injections. And within 10 minutes, she's like, and I did one, the first side first. And
Amazing.
She's like, this is so weird. I can't, you have to fix the other side. I can't, this is fine. 3 years.
I love that.
She's like, 3
Yeah.
years, I can't believe it. I can't even pick up my kid. So we did the other side, the same thing. Then the mom came in. But when would we use the Incrediwear? Before or after that?
You do both. Okay, number one is what you just did. Why the cells now get oxygen. You know, you're really almost putting it in a barometric chamber and shoving oxygen inside,
Yeah.
but you're doing it so localized and right the area that needs it. So Incrediwear is going to increase the blood flow, increase the oxygen and nutrients,
Right.
but you want to do it before you do the treatment.
Okay.
You want to do it after the treatment immediately because we want to minimize the amount of swelling that's a result. You
It
want
may
the
come
immune
back, like if I wear a full bodysuit, will it go systemic? Will my whole body be vibrating?
You know, we have so many Olympic athletes and teams. They always ask for a bodysuit,
Really?
and we're getting there. Actually,
Like a workout suit kind of thing? Like
oh yeah, and we're
superhuman, right?
We're just making it. We're just making our first shirt, you know, and pants. So it is going to be body pajamas and all, but really. Systemic, yes, but you have to do the studies to show that what it's doing. Right. And so when we take a look at what we're doing, increasing oxygen and nutrients, or affecting cells, we need to know what the outcome studies are going to be.
Yeah.
So you have a headache, a migraine.
Migraine.
Okay, migraine. You're going to take medication. What if I could wear a band that actually got rid of the migraine symptoms? Because what is it doing? It's bringing more oxygen and nutrients to your cells.
It goes into your brain, the neurons?
We're actually working on the reflex that goes from the cranial nerves into the brain to have the reflex.
Nice.
Yeah, and that's being done at Johns Hopkins. And I always think that, you know, people that are in pain, it's because the cells are crying. That's what's happening. Your cells are crying because they don't have oxygen. You just injected them with ozone,
right.
and all of a sudden, wow, the cells
yeah.
are saying, wow, this is amazing, I feel great. and you know, when you're in high altitude and you take oxygen, you're climbing Mount Everest or whatever, I actually think that these people in chronic pain are very similar to someone who's on the top of Mount Everest with no oxygen.
Bad, yeah.
They're in pain. Okay. There's every cell of their body's not working. Yeah. If I can increase the oxygen and nutrients to the cells by an injection, by Incrediwear, because it's bringing more oxygen and nutrients, what's going to happen is the pain is going to go away. If I have diabetes in my feet, why do you have diabetic neuropathy? Is because the cells are crying just like a heart attack. If you have a heart attack, you're going to get arm pain that's burning. And what do diabetics get? They get burning feet pain. So if you can increase their blood flow all the time, sitting in a chair, laying in bed, they have more oxygen. The outcome is 92% in a week, decreased neuropathy pain. And so that's what we need to look at. How can we holistically help people by all the modalities that you're doing in your clinics? Right. And sometimes it needs to be divinely advanced.
I had a patient come in and she had her DEXA scan, which measures your bone density. They're looking at your femur, they're looking at your back.
100%.
And I think a lot of people know what a DEXA scan is. You should probably be doing them when you're 40s, even 30s and 40s now, especially if you're
women,
thin,
for sure.
Especially thin bones, right? Yeah. And she came in, she's Asian, and she's about 70, 75. And she said, I got a bad DEXA. So I said, okay, fine, let's do the lympha. And 10 treatments. We were using this for your bones, but and I know the energy is so small, and the EMFs, these are good EMFs. This isn't like your computer or your phone or something. These are very, very low frequency, ultra low, right? And that's with the lympha machine, which I want you to talk about in a minute.
Absolutely, yeah.
And we did that. She doesn't say much. She doesn't talk much. She's very quiet, introverted. I was like, how can I help this patient more? And then she comes after the 10th time. She's beaming. She's so happy. I go, how's it going? She goes, I'm not depressed anymore. I go, what?
Wow.
Wait a minute.
Wow.
Do you know how that could possibly work?
Well, yeah, one of the things that with lympha, and we're doing it lympha and...
Well, can you explain what lymph is to everybody first? Because this is the second big thing he's done in his life.
Yeah. It's ultra.
It's a machine
low.
that heals things. Let's start with that.
It's, you know what? everyone's heard of magnets, you know,
Right,
and they're
right,
always like, oh, do
PEMF,
magnets work, you know?
PEMF
Yeah,
therapy,
yeah.
yeah, right.
But really what we've done is we've been able to develop a alternating magnetic wave, meaning it goes positive, negative, positive, negative. But you know what? This is what's amazing, Dana, is that it's made in a way that it is like music. And you know, you might have different conditions. You might have problems with the bone density,
different things.
or you
Sure.
might have we have a study on fibromyalgia that's like 74% decreased fibromyalgia.
OA.
pain.
Let's talk about OA. It's
OA.
half the country.
50% of the people with OA have, you know, get better with Lympha. And when you combine Incrediwear,
Yeah.
Incrediwear's 50%. When you combine them both, it's over 80%, you know, of arthritic
Any
pain.
age? Is that any age?
And it's, yeah. And so the thing that we're looking at is this, is that with the Lympha machine, she came in, she was so happy. Of course, she was happy because she's feeling better. Number two is when you have osteoporosis, you should know this, that, you know, your body's taking the calcium out of the bones. You know, what does that do, you know, inside your body? How is that affecting everything
Sure.
from serotonin levels to, you know,
Yeah.
every level? And so that hasn't been studied yet as far as why, I mean, if it was pain, I get it. But as far as, you know, we don't, sometimes the reaction of people when they're wearing Incrediwear, they put on Incrediwear and they go, oh my gosh, my knee feels so great. I'm going to get another one for the other side. They feel so great. It's like they're a different person. And
Yeah, I've seen that.
that's what we're doing now is we're actually doing blood tests to find out what's being affected when you wear Incrediwear.
Like neurotransmitters, hormones, all of it, right?
All of it.
That's what I want to see.
Yeah,
Like
biochemical markers of inflammation.
Good.
We're doing, you know, like we talked about earlier, what's happening to your mitochondria, which is the power cell of your body.
Really look at the neurotransmitters and go even like 10 steps further.
I love it.
Because there's so much depression, anxiety, and all this. And if this, I just have a feeling after seeing this, there's something else to this that's going central nervous system somehow.
100%.
So,
You know, there's the military asked if I'd make bed sheets so that they can put those depressed patients on them to see if there was there's an effect. So that's one of the things we're doing. We are doing this sleep study to see what happens to the chemicals of your body. And you know, the interesting thing, Dan, is a lot of the studies we're doing, we don't even, the university comes to us. Like Johns Hopkins is doing 2 of our studies. They just finished one. The Mayo Clinic is work as one of our partners. Same thing. They come to us and say, hey, listen, UC Davis came to us after we published a paper that said, I can change stem cells into non-scar tissue cells in 21 days. Meaning that if you use Incrediwear after a trauma, after injury, after PRP, or any kind of surgery, that I can change the stem cells into non-scar tissue cells and downregulate osteoarthritis cells so we could potentially reverse arthritis. But what that is, we didn't know that it would do that. And then UC Davis got a hold of us and they said, wow, do you think that we could actually multiply cells? So they took 9 of our fabrics and now they're doing tissue regeneration. Not charging us, tissue regeneration, multiplying cells, taking
Like a
zombie
Petri dish?
cells. They're taking actual cells that are from damaged tissue off surgery patients, putting in a Petri dish, and then putting Incrediwear not on it but above it, heating the room up to skin temperature. And what are they finding? They're finding, hey, we can change those damaged cells. We can maybe regenerate them or multiply them so you can use them for grafts or what have you. And so that's what's happening now around the world, is that all these universities and surgery centers are coming to us and say, can we be the one doing your surgery? And Lympha, we do at the same time. We'll actually combine our studies together to see what the outcomes are. And that's the exciting part, is we got into Lympha, and what is it? It's an alternating wave that goes up and down.
The public isn't going to understand that so much.
Yeah.
Let's talk about osteoporosis and how horrible it is, and the bisphosphonates and what a nightmare those drugs are. And I've never seen any of them work. They all do damage. What will the Lympha do for, say, a woman? I mean, the bones are very thin. She's like 75. You know, if she's not careful, if she falls down, she breaks a bone. Do you think we could strengthen those bones with Lympha at that age?
Well, we do have a study. It's published showing that it does do that.
For any age or any deterioration of the bones, any DEXA?
You know what? we did a wide range of patients, I think up to 70. But bigger studies are going to be done right now. We're doing one in Chicago right now on osteoporosis. And, the people, women over 50 that have osteoporosis or don't even know it, 50% have fractures at some time after, age 50. And so that's why they should be doing lympha. Is what it's doing is it's actually causing the osteoclast to start building.
So the bone has osteoclast and osteoblasts, and the bone is always remodeling. So some are building, some are breaking down, some are building, and these are the ones that are building, right?
Correct.
And you're increasing those guys?
They start building more, and we actually see this. I have a really good story on how fast things can heal, even with lympha. Is that I was at Wimbledon this year, and Alexander Zverev, tennis player, number 2 in the world, fell during the match, right, and hurt his knee. They thought it was a sprain. He put on Incrediwear. Then went and had an MRI, no damaged tissue or anything, but he went to his German doctors the next week, and we started using lympha on him immediately, as well as Incrediwear. Mm. And the next week, they went to the doctor, and the doctor said, "Hey, you had a fracture in your leg."
They could see he had a fracture?
Yeah, and the fracture's healing because it has the callus on it, and it's almost 50%. It's almost 50% healed. You can in 1 week. And so
in a week?
In 1 week.
A fracture.
Yeah.
A hairline, just a small little hairline.
Yeah, but I mean that's still fast.
Yeah.
It should be like 21 days to a month.
Couple months. Yeah.
We do the same thing with. I remember we had Tony Hawk broke his leg in half and was having a non-union fracture. Lives down in this area, and we used lympha on that as well afterwards to help the non-union fracture. And what it is if we can be used, especially after fractures right away, the bone is going to heal faster, because what it's doing is it's stimulating, like you said, the cells that create more bone. Whereas when you have osteoporosis, the osteoporosis is because the cells called osteoclasts are pulling the calcium out. Right. And that's it's a miracle. So that's one of the cool things about lympha. And that's the hardest thing with our body is, I mean, you're sitting there, I'm sitting here, and what's telling us we have a problem? Because you're so inefficient at telling you that something's developing. Do you have prostate right now? Do you have cancer growing in a lung or not?
Well, I'll ignore it anyway. I mean, like most guys.
Male, yeah.
Until it comes out, I really have.
Exactly.
No, I won't. I know more than a lot of people because I'm a doctor. But
absolutely, and you have the test.
They will ignore it.
And that's where this stuff, Incrediwear, we've done 3 studies on prevention. But lymph is the same, and is that Incrediwear, when you wear Incrediwear, it prevents having injury. And now we're looking at what can we do on a cellular basis. We're coming out with the clothing line where we can help prevent arthritis, reverse arthritis, reverse aging to a certain extent. So
say somebody has osteoarthritis and they can wear your shirts, your Incrediwear shirts, they'll go away?
Once you get to remodeling, people need to understand that there's 4 different types of osteoarthritis. Grade 1, 2, 3, and 4. Once you get to grade 4, it's remodeled all the way. That means it's like I took a hammer to it and I changed the shape. You can never bring the shape back. But grade 1 and grade 2 is the one where I said, you and I are sitting here, it's developing, we don't even know it's developing. And then all of a sudden you go in for an x-ray and they say, oh, you got arthritis in your knee or in your hip or in your shoulder, you didn't know it. Right. And that's what we're looking on. We're doing a study at the University, Colorado State University, where we're actually taking x-rays before and afterwards to show up to what level potentially can we reverse.
Before the hammer.
Yeah, before the arthritis is so bad. Yeah, awesome, fun stuff. Yeah.
So my big question to you is, when you have a treatment or some kind of modality that works amazingly well, like let's say homeopathy. I do a lot of homeopathy. And if you don't understand it and you don't know how to do it, it's hogwash, it doesn't work, it's quackery and all this other stuff. Yeah. But I've had people literally take a homeopathic medicine and then say they saw the heavens. One guy does the words he used. So whatever enlightenment he had, it was the most amazing thing. So with Incrediwear, and the results, like 50% faster healing, fractures healing in less time, and is it being accepted?
It's a great question, and I think, when you take a look at younger doctors especially, they've been to chiropractors, they've been to acupuncturists, they're more accepting of what I call nouveau medicine.
Okay.
Like what we're trying to do
Alternative,
is
functional.
we're trying to change the world by going more holistic, and we should be. We should do holistic beforehand. But when we get an orthopedic surgeon, now I have the most famous orthopedic surgeons in the U.S. around the world using us. But how I got them was I showed them what it did to themselves, or I showed them what it did to a patient. Yeah. And that's unfortunate, because this is that lots of people are coming into you for the miracle. You're the last resort. I've done everything. Can you help me? Yeah. And all of a sudden it gets better, and then they're like, oh, did Jesus come down and heal me? What, did I get touched? What happened? But in actuality, you've found something that actually works with Incrediwear and embedded inside. This is like, if we look at what God created, He created the minerals on this planet. Everything that's in here is actually is something that's natural, that's already being, that if you go and, there's a thing called earthing. If you go and lay on the earth, it emits negative
7
ions.
hertz.
Oh, it's amazing.
I can't believe, like, the earth itself is emitting 7 hertz, and
it's healing.
lymph is like 5 to 80 hertz. So
it's healing.
Well, we just tell them to take off your shoes and walk around the grass, and we have to pay for the lymph.
Well, I don't think the intensity is just right. And remember, I'll get into the music. You can ask me about how I feel the music is kind of like an orchestra.
Right.
Is that, we look at what Incrediwear has done. When I started, it was all about pain. And that's what it says, pain relief.
But it's more than pain relief, right? Because you have to be able to move. After you have a fracture or a sprain, you have to move. It's not just pain. It's range of motion and
100%.
Okay.
And, when I started, I went to my first NBA team was the Warriors, Golden State Warriors. Okay. And on the package it says from the trainer, hey, I couldn't have won. You're an integral part of our championship season.
So awesome.
And they did that because they saw a result. And they saw what what the product does on them when it touches them under a microscope. But really, where we've gone from there is we thought, wow, pain relief, that's great. But people are starting to come to me and they're saying, wow, my menstrual cramps are less. So we just finished doing a study on menstrual cramps. Nice. 74% decreased menstrual cramps. And then then all of a sudden someone says, well, I put the waist sleeve on my head and my migraine went away. So now we're doing the study at Johns Hopkins. So when you start getting universities calling us, or you start getting, you start having pro teams calling us, like we've only demoed to 3 NBA teams, and I have every NBA team. I don't give product away. I don't give Steph Curry or LeBron or they don't get free product.
They don't get free product and then wear it around and advertise it for you?
No, we sell them logoless product. But yet what I showed you some pictures earlier. What are they wearing? Why wouldn't
they wear the logo?
They are wearing the logo. When they're not in the game, they're wearing the one because they think it's cool. Okay. So they're buying their own product with a logo on it to wear it around. That's amazing. Yeah. Because the one that teams are buying
says a lot for your
have
company.
0 logos. Yeah. But the point is that when we first started, we thought, this is all about pain relief. But now we're looking at, hey, if we could wear this product, can we make you healthy? If you go to the doctor, you just get injured. You go to the doctor, and if they don't give you medication, but they give you Incrediwear because it heals you 50% faster, wow, do that before medication. You'll probably not need any medication. Right. But then you need surgery. We already have studies showing that if you have surgery, I can heal you 50% faster.
Right.
If you have arthritis, over 50% decrease arthritic pain.
So if you're just putting it on your knee, do a lot of people have other things getting better in their bodies? Have you noticed that at all? Or?
No.
Okay.
No, it's pretty localized. So they'll feel so good here, they'll ask for something somewhere else. And remember, this is increasing blood flow and reducing swelling, but it only goes. So if I have a knee sleeve on, it's only going to go up about 3 or 4 more inches because there's valves in the veins. So if I increase blood flow, it's only going to affect. Right. So far, it's really from there down.
When you put this, whatever it is you put on for the women with menstrual cycle cramps, that's going systemic.
Oh, it'll go systemic, 100%. And that's why we're finding now.
You need suits. I don't want a suit. That's what I said.
We need to look at the whole program of what's happening. I mean, why the U.S. is so big. and overweight. But
Well,
one of the
you know
things
a
that
lot
I'm
of why.
developing is, and I just did it, I just developed the first product that actually burns 30% more calories while you're exercising, but doesn't
Increases BMR?
yeah.
I can put you on
And-
the Tanita scale and see that
we're
within a
doing
week
the
or two?
study at USC and
Really?
at Florida State.
How do you wear it? What is it?
It's just it just like looks like regular
that's it?
clothes, but I up the ante of what I put inside it.
Okay.
And it just increases your metabolism while you're exercising.
A question I have, so
Yeah.
when we heat up our normal body temperature, well, I do a lot of thyroid pathology, so most people are at like 97.5, 98. But if you get to 98, if you get to 98.6 where you're supposed to be, and then it goes over that, like you're working out, you're getting hotter and hotter and hotter, will that work more and more and more? The more
and
your
it cools
temperature
you
goes
down.
up?
So the hotter you get, it thermoregulates you, because at the same time it's vibrating your cells. It's releasing negative ions. Negative ions go in and attach to positive ions, and that pulls heat off your body. In fact, we can actually put your arm under hot water, put a sleeve on, and you'll feel the heat coming off your body, but your arm feels cool inside. And that's why you see a lot of these pro athletes wearing this, and they think, wow, it's so thick. It looks thick, the material looks thick, but it's cool. It's cooling you down. So it's
well, especially if you're working out in California and it's, well, anyway, in the summer it's 100, 104, 100. In the baseball, the off season, they're practicing, or even football.
Oh, yeah.
They start in the summer. You can't play.
100%. It's
You're
one of
gonna
the
need IVs just to survive.
It's one of the side effects that we found when we were working with the Olympic team, where they'd put on our clothes getting out of the swimming pool, and they'd put it on for recovery. And that's one of our biggest markets, is athletic recovery. We did a study that showed that if you wear this for 3 hours, I can lower your muscle fatigue.
Yeah, what about like bodybuilders? I used to lift, and my muscle would hurt so bad if I hadn't worked.
Put on Incrediwear, and it's 3 hours.
And that
reduction.
will all go, like a lactic acid, all would go out of my muscles?
Yeah, and in 4 hours, it's almost, and we double blinded it.
And then I can work out again, or?
You can, you can. And the workout is, it's amazing. You get fatigued when you go and play golf, even though it doesn't look, you walk 5 miles, but you're hitting the ball. You go, when you're playing football or whatever, that the pro teams buy these sleeves so that they can put them on right after they work out, right after a game, so that they're not as fatigued, because when you're fatigued, that's when you're going to get injured.
Yeah.
That's
Especially
how
like
we can
quarterbacks
prevent
or
injury.
something, you're gonna
100%.
get slammed.
But what we should talk about is, we should just talk about the normal person that maybe even be coming in. I mean, most of the people that are coming in to come to you to be healthy, because they've gone everywhere else. And now we know that it's going to be affecting not only the arthritic changes, but also your mood, the way that you feel. That's why we're doing all these studies to bring out healthy clothes. It's one of those things where I think it's going to go totally mainstream. We're in 50 countries, but really, what do you want in life? You want to wake up every morning feeling amazing.
Just feel peace and energy.
But you're not going to get that if you don't feel good.
No, not
so
at all.
when you get out of bed, you get out of bed and you're like, you judge your day today I'm a little bit better. Today's going to be good. You get out of bed, it's like, oh man, today's going to be. And what if you woke up in the morning after wearing our pajamas or whatever, and you get up and you go, wow, the swelling's gone. Man, I feel great. This day is going to be amazing. You know what it just did? It upped your quality of life.
So the last question I have to ask for today.
Okay.
How about ED?
Okay.
For everybody doesn't know what that is out there, is erectile dysfunction. And I'm just wondering, does it do anything for that? Not for myself, of course.
It's a great. I love this. I have to tell you that in 2012, I went to the water polo team that practiced for the Olympics, and it was up in Thousand Oaks, and some of the guys put on our underwear, and they're like, "Oh my gosh, I gotta take off the underwear."
There are erections?
Yeah.
Really?
So I didn't want to really go there at the time.
Sure.
And because
But you
we were doing
noticed
so many
it, or
other
they
things.
they were joking?
So, no, I have circulation underwear. We did a study on it.
Oh, circulation, okay.
Yeah, so they increased blood flow. It helped with guys that were totally impotent, 50%.
Really?
And then night urination went down 50%. And this is the one thing that I was talking to you about it before. I feel what we need to do in medicine right now is imagine your body is an orchestra, and you're going to listen to that orchestra, and you go in there and it's amazing, it sounds great, but we need to do that on our own body, because your body's like an orchestra. It's its own drugstore. It's its own ability to heal. But what we don't do is we don't listen to it very well. Right. And when the trumpet in that section is not working well, we need to get checked. That's why they need to come and see you. That's why they need to come and see regenerative doctors and these doctors that are holistic, because we can do tests. We can run frequency through you. We can actually figure out what's going on, and we can make your life better. And that's where medicine needs to go. This is all about frequency. Our body has frequency.
Hahnemann is on the wall over there.
We're 40, this is 40 terahertz frequency. We need to actually look at the body. Everything, when you pray to God, it's a frequency. When you look at the string theory and Einstein's theory of what's the basis of, what is the basis of a molecule? It goes all the way down to a string that is supposedly playing a musical, melody. And we just need to get those in harmony again.
That picture over there is Hahnemann. Samuel Hahnemann was the innovator of homeopathy. He's the one that found out if you titrate down in dilution, like 1 drop in 99 drops, 1 drop in 99 drops, you started with Black Widow or Squid Ink or something, and you'll get the very small energy in there, right? Which you can put through a mass spec machine and see a different pattern on every single homeopathic remedy. So don't tell me there's nothing in there.
Yeah.
It's just we, or even myself, might not know how to use it because it's such small energy. Well, when you start using that energy like that, it starts to treat your energetic body rather than your physical body, which you have energy. People have seen it in those, the Correlian images. I mean, we've seen this. And when you treat that, it goes down, and it's much more efficient that way. I mean, you can do both ways.
Oh, yeah.
But Incrediwear usually almost sounds like it's almost doing the energy of the body.
It's
more
tuning
so.
You know, when you take a guitar,
that's a good word.
And you're playing a guitar, someone tunes it. And I think if we can get you in that tone, just like with the earth, it emits that, the certain frequency.
Yes.
So when I take a look at where we're going medicine-wise and frequency-wise, I actually would love to develop a non-audible clothing line that we run frequency through that plays a song that you love, but you don't hear it, but your cells do. And when you listen to a rock and roll song, you want to go out and you want to dance. It's, wow, this is great. And when you listen to jazz, just mellow sitting back, it affects all the hormones of your body.
Sounds, frequencies, those are all frequencies.
But those are sensory sound. Can we do it just on a cell without you feeling it? So I have a clip on and I can run that sound.
Like a TENS unit.
It could be and it sends the frequency that stimulates the same music that you would enjoy. Maybe in the future, we're going to be doing something where the way you want to feel today, I want to be up for a game. You can't hear it. It's actually putting into all the cells. Now all the cells are ready, prepped and ready to go play a game. Or, tonight I want to actually relax. Dial it down, and now look at that's where medicine should go. And where Incrediwear is doing, it's just tuning it.
You need to talk to somebody. I want to introduce you to, and I just thought of somebody I want to have on the show next. He's all over the place, but his name's Dr. Stephen Schwartz. He's got the Vibe bed, V period, I period. V.
I haven't seen that, no.
It's the only one that I never usually go into these things, but I bought it, and we had an autistic kid. He's 21 years old. The parents don't want him to be on camera anymore. We did one video of him, and he kind of freaked out. But that's when he wasn't doing very well. But we did 10 treatments on this Vibe bed with Spectrum. That's that. But what Stephen Schwartz did is he made the bed, he put the vibration into the bed. There's a lead that goes right into the bed, and then he has the sound. So you have sound, and it could be any sound. It's not music. It could be a rocket, or it could be the Nepal bells. It could be anything. And he matched them up to the frequency of homeopathic remedies.
I love that.
He couldn't have figured. I think Stephen Schwartz literally went out and had to somehow figure this out, like Tesla.
Yeah.
And he used some of Tesla's stuff, and he used some of Einstein's stuff. If you watch his lectures, it's brilliant, right?
I love that.
And we've been putting a lot of people on this bed. And then the kid did 10 treatments, and then he's joking. He's very nervous. One of his big things, he's very scared. He wants to get a girlfriend, but he's very nervous. He's autistic. And so after the 10th treatment, he was in the where all the girls are working, and he was joking with them.
Wow.
And he was like kind of wanting to make an advance, but he couldn't, and they're joking with him because they see he had changed, and now he's actually looking at them. Before he was like, he was totally withdrawn. And that's just 10 treatments. I mean, we treated the gut, we did other things, but nothing major.
Yeah.
So I think that could be possibly you guys could work together.
It's an amazing thought. Yeah.
But what you're getting at is way above most pay grades in the whole world.
We're trying to. We do all these outcome studies. You read 15 of them, but we have another 10 that we're doing on cellular. And you have to understand why it's working. And so that's where, you don't know why it's doing that, but I want to figure it out.
If you can,
I want to get to the
best.
core.
Yeah.
What's actually happening? And that's where we're going next.
Okay.
That's the end. Let's figure it all out. Let's make something that you can wear 24 hours a day and look amazing.
Or just put it in your pocket, whatever. Something you can put in any clothing.
It's going to be amazing.
You're an incredible innovator. You're an entrepreneur beyond entrepreneurs. I thank you for coming on the show today.
Love it.
And I think everybody needs to watch this show and see what's the next step in evolution of medicine.
I so appreciate what you're doing.
Thank you very much.
Let's change the world.
Okay, we will. No problem. Thank you very much.
Yeah.